Hey, y'all, I'm going to talk for just a few minutes about fish populations. Things have changed. From my perspective, it's a little bit different than some. I have a unique history in this sport. And talk about how things have maybe changed a bunch. I'm trying to catch them in a mess of stuff right now. I'll be right back, and we'll talk about it while I try to figure them out. My ain't this purty. And just as a thought just come to me is 30 years ago, this had been a fish catching spot, even with the weird water conditions. Maybe exactly with these water conditions. We're facing some flood stuff. And unfortunately, I am fully prepared not to get bit in here because that just seems to be the way it is anymore. So I've talked about this before, but from an insight or a perspective, I don't know if I know what I'm talking about. Because I'm struggling catching bass, mostly, especially here in Lake of the Ozarks. Randy did a video. Yeah, I'm so good at this. I'm trying to catch a fish. Don't mean doing videos. I'm trying to bass fish. Randy did a video the other day about how there's definitely less fish, less catchable bass, whatever. And it sounds like an excuse, is what it really does sound like, from old guy and stuff. And I can just hear kids going, well, it's because you don't know how to do it anymore. 30 years ago, if I'd been fishing right here this time of year and all this flooded crap, I'd have fully expected to catch some 4 and 5 pounders. And I'm not saying I'm not going to catch fish, but I fully expect not to get bit. That's my story anymore, especially here in Lake of the Ozarks. I caught them on Truman Lake the other day, like you're supposed to, like you used to, but I'm struggling. Randy did a video again the other day, and we've talked about this before, about the potential that there's not as many bass there used to be, or they're harder to catch, whatever. And it sounds like an excuse for us old guys, something less fish, harder to catch, because people are jacking with them with forward faces on all. It sounds like an excuse for an old man, doesn't it? And I don't want it to be that way. I want to catch fish. I want to prove I can still do this. But I have a unique take on that. I think it's unique. It involves just a little bit of a history lesson while I try to get around all this crap. Man, this stuff is thick. So here's the deal. I fished semi-professionally and professionally for a bunch of years. Nothing like Randy, but I did a bunch of years. I guided, fished upwards of 200 days a year. One year was 212 days documented. That's a lot of days. And you figure things out when you're fishing like that. You really do. You get in zones. You get where you're confident in what you're doing. But I quit. Now, a lot of people know my story, but some of y'all are new to the channel. Maybe your first time watching. I quit serious bass fishing in spring of 2001. Fished a couple more tournaments the next few years just piddling, but I quit the serious stuff. And didn't come back. Fished my first tournament again 2017. Meanwhile, I didn't even fish these lakes. There was a time I didn't fish this lake for 16 years. Never was on Lake of the Ozarks one time fishing in 16 years. That lends to my perspective to a degree, but it gets a little bit more entailed than that. 2017, I bought another old bass boat. Didn't start fishing tournaments again, but I did start fishing. And you know what, y'all? I pretty much caught them. I had some real good days. Had good days shallow water, had good days in deep water, had good days all times of the year, not just when the fish were biting. And I was thinking I was going to get it all figured back out and go back tournament fishing, which I didn't do because, truthfully, I just didn't feel like I was up to the level I wanted to be. I still don't feel that way. Boy, this is a mess. I'm pushing this whole flotsam in front of me. So I fished a couple years out of that bass boat. Oh, I might get a bite. No, see, all that crap underneath the water is hard on you. Hard on an old man. Start setting hook on leaves, you got problems. So when I sold that boat, I quit again for a few years. I fished the lake some. I actually have some videos on my other channel of me fishing on my John boat that I made into a little bass boat. And I guess what? Truman and Lake of the Ozarks with a 15-horse tiller motor, I caught fish. I caught solid limits of keeper fish several times. Fast forward to 2 years ago with about a 2-year break. So we're going back, 5-6 years since I had the other bass boat and was kind of catching them fairly regular. I get my bass boat 2 years ago and have not weighed in a limit on Lake of the Ozarks yet. I've weighed in one limit on Truman Lake in a tournament. I've zeroed, 6 or 7 tournaments. Zeroed. Not weighing even a keeper bass. And I keep telling myself, it's me. I'm just not any good anymore. I don't remember how to do it. It's hard to take. And I don't have any ego. If I don't prove that the way I make fun of myself and just the way I feel about this, ego just, it's sinful. I've never had one, especially when I can't catch enough bass to even draw a check in a little piddling tournament. Or not piddling, I'm fishing against a bunch of guides and professionals, but whatever. You still need to weigh in fish. I'm not weighing them in. So I'm doubting my skills, I'm doubting everything. But then people make comments in my videos, and I watch my videos to look for issues, and I realize I'm fishing fundamentally sound. I'm putting the bait where it belongs. And whatever technique, I'm using multiple techniques. I'm not trying to make the fish come my way. It's got to be daunting, something that shouldn't be daunting. Now here it is, third week of April. Now we got flood conditions, got a lot of color to the water, but still, these fish should bite. I can see 5-6 inches. That's plenty of, that's almost perfect visibility for this jig, especially when the sun gets up a little bit higher. And I know that. I'm on the 45-degree chunk rock banks leading into spawning pockets, doing all the things that used to work generally. And I think I'm going to make something work today. I got a tournament tomorrow, but it's not like it used to be for sure. I came back to this sport after basically, 18, 20 years gone, at least now. I mean, I won my last tournament in 2000, if that tells you anything. It is not the same. The fishing's not the same. The lakes ain't the same. And you got to expect some changes. You've got to. That's the way the world works. Truman Lake and lakes like it have way less timber than they had 25 years ago. You think that'd be a blessing, but we got to where we liked all that timber. I mean, there's still a lot of timber, but nothing like it were. You can run places you couldn't idle back in the day. Okay? Lake of the Ozarks here has way more houses, way more docks, way more boat traffic, whatever. Things have to change. It can't stay the same forever. But the fishing and the way it's changed is bothersome, and I'm almost positive that I'm right. I think my perspective is, it's like a guy coming in brand new, never fished before. I don't know how you can stand it. Well, while I'm talking, I catch one, so not a keeper, but fish is right where it should be. Hit like it should hit. That gives me some confidence. Look at that. So I don't know if there's anything to take away from this, except there's no doubt in my mind that Randy's right. I'm right. Things are pretty screwed up. Fishing pressure since COVID. And it's got to be some of that because, again, I was fishing in 2018, some 2019. But I still caught him in 2001, 2022 in my John boat. I took basically a year off, come back with my new boat, and everything is different. Stuff that I have done for years, areas that I've used for years are just no good. So I've looked for new areas. Actually, I'm fishing right here, a place I haven't been in 30 years. Trying something new, trying to get away from, trying not to get stuck on certain things. I'm trying to be very versatile. I don't know. There's no fixing it. There's too many tournaments, too many people fishing, which, my gosh, we need people fishing. We need kids fishing. How much is a forward-face sonar messing with it? I think a bunch. I don't have the answers. I hate the technology. It's on this boat right now, and you can see that graph even, I'm not going to turn it on. It's ridiculous. But I'm afraid that my blood and guts method of fishing that I did for so many years, going with the flow, using my head, my heart, and my brain to think things through, is done. Now, Truman Lake the other day was a refreshing deal because, of course, it's spring, they're supposed to bite. It's spring here, they're supposed to bite. The very first spot I went had fish like it did 30 years ago. I improved upon it, expanded upon it, worked it out, found new things to mess with, duplicated. That's a, in these tournaments I've been fishing the last 2 years, I've caught some decent fish. Had big fish one tournament. Many times I have a 3+ pound bass or a 4 pound bass and never can duplicate it. That's the issue. You've got to be able to expand. And in all truthfulness, back in the day, a 3 pound bass on the right kind of stuff, like this bank is right here, meant there was more there. It was just, you only had to catch one or see one in practice, and it was time to move to the next spot because you had them found. In a good situation, not every day, but that was part of the fun of figuring fish out and knowing how to make this happen. So anyway, I'm going to fish this pocket out. That was not a keeper bass. It wasn't enough to get me excited, except it was my first bite, second spot I fished today on a jig, which I love. I'm doing several other things too, but I started off with the jig because I always crap in the water. It's a beautiful day, it's beautiful conditions, it's muddy water. It's really muddy out in the main lake. I'm going to look around a little bit and fish a tournament tomorrow and try to make something happen. That's all I know how to do. How's things on y'all's lake? I've asked that before. I've got some pretty good answers that y'all are having the same issues I'm having. I was gone for a long time and fishing is not what it used to be. Bottom line, I don't care. I'm not that bad a fisherman. I put that bait every bit where I wanted to put that bait. I don't jack around that much. I don't screw around. I still have a talent enough for a largemouth bass. So God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll talk at you later.